Hey guys, RVA Bourbon back tonight with another tasting. Tonight we are going to do a little rye war. So rye is actually a whiskey, rye whiskey. It's not a bourbon. I think I'd explained in one of my videos. Bourbon has to have 51% corn. So these ryes have 51% rye. And I've got 5 of them here, so they just don't call them rye bourbons. They're actually rye whiskeys, but a lot of bourbon drinkers drink the ryes as well. So I've got 5 of them. We're gonna do a blind tasting of the 5 and see what I like the best. I got E.H. Taylor straight rye. I think that's 100 proof. I got Midsummer Night's Dram. That is a High West product. Usually a fairly sought after bottle. So is it Colonel Taylor, E.H. Taylor. Picked this up the other day. This is a Basil Hayden's 10-year rye. And then I have not had the 10-year, and I have not had this Angel's Envy rye, of which a lot of people say is really sweet, but really good. I haven't had a chance to taste it, but I will tonight. And then I have Michter's rye. They actually have a 10-year rye too, but I do not have that. So we're gonna go with the straight Michter's rye. And let's give these a taste. And like I said, I don't know what is what, so I can rank them for my personal preference of what I think is the best of these 5. So a bourbon, because it has 51% corn, tends to be a little bit sweeter, depending on the mash bill, which the mash bill is basically your corn to wheat to barley, or corn to rye to barley, or rye to wheat to barley. So it tends to have a little bit different smell, a little bit different taste, but very similar to the bourbon. Has a spicy note, like a spicy cinnamon. Actually really spicy, almost like a peppery, spicy note to it. Little ethanol, not a lot in this one. Taste that char, that wood char, and then you taste that spicy note, kind of hits you in the back of the throat. Kind of makes you think of fall, Halloween, Thanksgiving, even into Christmas. Almost a peppermint type of spice. Like a smoked walnut type of spice. That was good. Kind of a plain, straightforward rye. Has good flavor in the mouth, not a ton of burn. Probably that's a lower proof of the 5 I got here. So on to number 2. Smell was a little more ethanol, but again, tastes like a straightforward rye. This one a little more dusty. This one a little more, like that first one, what I liked about it was it immediately brought me into Christmas, peppermint, spice, almost like a kind of like a potpourri smell to it. Peppermint. This does not give me that same feel. This has a little bit more smoky smell, dusty smell. I got a hint of lemon right off the bat. Be interesting to see what that tastes like coming back, because it had a different taste between the first sip and the second sip. So I'm going to let that sit and air out, and we'll go to number 3. None of these having a ton of smell. I think that first one had more smell to it. This has little or no smell on number 3. Has a little bit more of an alcohol taste to it. Not a great flavor. This one has finish, so it's I'm still feeling it down in my chest. This one has a little finish. I'm gonna use this term I use a lot. It's called clean. That one's kind of got a clean taste, almost a little bit, not like a high proof alcohol, but kind of tastes like a little bit of a medicine alcohol taste to that. But that one, I'm still tasting it, still feeling that. That number 3 had a good finish, where the other 2 had good flavor. 3 has a good finish to it. We'll move on to number 4. There's like a chocolate spice. Almost like a chocolate covered cherry, but the cherry is like a spicy cherry. Very similar to number 2, with a little bit of an alcoholic taste to it. It's very similar to number 3. Very close. I mean, I would say if you put 2 of those together, I couldn't tell you the difference between the 1 or 2. It's between 3 and 4. It's got the finish, but just not a lot of flavor to that. It does have a little bit of burn and a little bit of finish to that 4, like 3 did, but just like you can't pull out a lot of flavors from that. You get a little bit of the spice on the end, but Just not a ton of flavor. I did 5 tonight, so I'm on. This is number 5. For some reason I taste a little or smell a little bit of like a grape, like a green grape. Not a lot. Remember, a lot of these haven't been aged as long, so you don't get a ton of that barrel taste to them. Yeah, a little green apple, green grape, just hints of it, not a ton. And that actually, number 5, has a little bit of a, like a sour grape, green apple. Like you bite into a green apple, you're going to get that almost like a newness. And now even on the finish, I'm getting a little bit like a chalky finish. Alright, I'm going to go back through, trying to keep these videos not too long so people don't get bored with them. Number 5, it's opened up a bit. Still getting a little green. I don't know how to explain it. Green apple, green grapes, little lemon smell in this as well. A little more spicy. If you put lemon juice and apple juice, not apple juice, green apple and a green grape and mashed them all together and then put some cayenne in there, that would be this rye. It's interesting. I don't know what to do with that as far as ranking. Usually I like to rank them as I go so I don't go back through, so I just in my own mind here. But as I taste the other ones, I can go back to that. This is number 4. Have to give it to number 5 as far as number 4 goes. Is number 4 is very plain Jane to me. I'm just, you get that little bit of heat, but just not a lot of flavor. So you get a little bit of, it does have a finish. So what I remember, 3 and 4 both have a finish. They both, I think if I sat here long enough, that feeling is still ongoing with number 4. The problem is has no taste up front, no back end. It's all finish. And I think that's what I'm going to end up saying about number 3 as well. Is what I remember is both 3 and 4 were all finished. So as I sit here, even now, 10 seconds longer, I'm still feeling that, which is a great feeling. You know, it's a great, they call it a hug. So it's a great hug. Just no flavor or, taste to go along with it. All right, number 3's gotten a little sweeter. Almost like candy sweet. As they open up, they're going to change flavors a little bit. Again, 3 and 4. I would give 4 a slight edge over 3 just because it does have a finish. But either one of them, very little taste to them. I'm just not getting it. A little bit of lemon in 3. Again, not bad, just depends on how much money you're paying for those 3 and 4, whether I think it's worth the money. 5, I would say, at least had some flavor to it versus 3 and 4. Really 3, very little flavor. Give 4 an edge just because it had more finish. All right, back to number 2. Still getting that. I believe this is the one I said had that chocolate spicy cherry. This is better than 3 and 4. I don't know that it's my favorite, but it's definitely going to be in the top 3. It has a little bit of a alcohol aftertaste to it. Getting a little sour apple in that too. Like a sour apple spice. It's definitely got more upfront flavor, more taste than 3 and 4. And now I'm starting to feel even a little more in the back end on number 2. We're back to number 1. Oh man. Now, This is straight up caramel. Smell it. That is straight up caramel now. I mean, like straight up caramel, vanilla. Now that this has opened up a bit, whew, that is like what's some candies you put in your mouth? It's just that caramel that melts in little squares. Little squares that you wish you didn't get at Halloween, but oh so good. Oh yeah, that's sweet. I knew going through when I came back to one, that one was going to be my favorite. Just straight up sweet caramel. I'm gonna actually take a guess even right now and say everybody says this Angel's Envy rye is sweet. I'm gonna take a guess and say that this number one, which of these three, of these five, is gonna be my number one pick. If you're going to drink a rye, this number one is going to be the rye that you want to drink. If you're going to drink a rye. Some people like them, some people don't. I actually put, I think Michter's has been in a bourbon tasting with me and did well. So, you know. So I'm going to go with my least favorite as my last place of these five is going to be this number three that I just felt like didn't really have a ton of flavor. Just, it wasn't there for me. So let's see what number three is the worst one that or the last place, I should say worst. The last place in this group of five is Basil Hayden's 10-year, which is sad because that's an expensive bottle of rye. Does not shock me. Basil Hayden's gets a bad rap. There's a reason for it. I'm going to give it a bad rap too. And that's an expensive bottle of rye. I hate to put a 10-year-old rye in a old fashioned, but that's probably about what this is good for. All right, my fourth place is going to be number four. It just doesn't have a ton of flavor to me. Had a little more finish than number three, but my fourth place is going to be Michter's. Kind of sad too because that's not a cheap bottle of rye. Michter's also makes a 10-year. I'd like to try it, but I don't want to pay $100 for a bottle, that's for sure. So, Michter's, again, not bad, just not in this class. But again, I've had this in a bourbon tasting before, and I think it finished second or third, so it just depends on what that bourbon was that day. My third place, I'm going to go with number two, which has a smoky, even just smelling that glass, has much more of a smoky smell and taste than these other three. So if you're looking for that cigar rye, this number 2 is gonna be it. I said originally it had a smoky flavor, smoky smell. So this third place tonight, Midwinter's Night Dram, High West. A lot of people love this. It's good. It's not. I don't think it's great, but it's good. But a lot of people, kind of look for it. It's a very expensive bottle of straight rye whiskey, but I would give it a B minus, or even a B. It was a fair, smoky rye. And then I am going to my second place tonight. Number 1 is going to be my first place, which, because it had so much vanilla caramel characteristics, I would almost bet my life that's going to be that Angel's Envy. And number 5, which is second place tonight, my guess is going to be E.H. Taylor, and it is E.H. Taylor. Very, very good bottle when you can find it. I paid a little extra to get this one. E.H. Taylor makes some great bourbons. I would highly recommend all of E.H. Taylor's products. I haven't had a bad one. This is a straight rye. I liked it. Very unique taste. Very good. And my number 1 is going to be this Angel's Envy Rye, which everybody loves. The sweetness. A lot of people say it's too sweet. It's not. It's not too sweet. It's just not too sweet. That Angel's Envy Rye is an amazing rye whiskey. I would have to look into how long this is aged, but I don't think it's very long. Amazing rye right there. And I like Angel's Envy bourbon. Their port bourbon is amazing as well. So a lot of people give them some flack. Obviously, in a blind tasting, this was my winner, and I enjoyed it. So again, another not cheap bottle of rye, but this one is actually worth the money. So if you're out and you see Angel's Envy, whether it's bourbon or the rye, I would recommend it. Very sweet, wonderful caramel vanilla taste. If you don't get caramel and vanilla out of this, then you just, something's wrong. But great rye, strongly recommended. Thanks, guys. Don't forget to hit subscribe. It's the only way that I can get out there to more people is just to hit that subscribe button. So I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks.